especially like through my development stage, and, freshman all the way to senior year. I just wish I would have been on that side of town maybe, and then got to connect with you guys. I definitely felt like it would have helped me a lot.
Hello. Hello. Welcome back. The One-Eyed Scout Show. I've got my sidekick, Mr. Philip Townsend in Turquoise, Oklahoma. He's going to drop in for the show. And as always,
Sup?
sup. And then the producer, Mr. Vance Bradford, going to come in. We're going to talk some Anthony Edwards' last game of the season tonight.
What a way to open the show there, Kevin.
Yeah, man. I don't know how y'all feeling, but he's gonna have to have another magical performance, and the Thunder are just gonna have to have their average performance to win this game.
Well,
Go ahead.
No, because I was going to yield to my cohort over there, Mr. Philip Townsend, as he's sitting on trigger, his high horse. He's sitting on his high horse with that OKC stuff. So go ahead, Phil.
Hey, look, I would tell you right now, I had a moment of disappointment. You know, I saw the great show you all did this past weekend, and I was highly disappointed, Kevin, for you to think Oklahoma City would lose.
Oh, no. I said my man Anthony Edwards was going to go off that night.
Yeah.
And he did. And they lost.
Well, he went off the court after Oklahoma City drug him. It's the Thunder. Look, you only had two choices to pick this season. LA minus a defensive stopper, or that's as in LA Lakers, or Oklahoma City Thunder. Those are the only two choices you had to pick. And I just left Oklahoma City. I'm back out here right on the campus of Langston University. Tomorrow I will be stopping by. Hopefully the next 2 days I can catch someone in the coach's office and we can get someone to do an interview with us here from the Langston University basketball coaching staff.
That would be top notch. That would put you an interview ahead of Mr. Vance Bradford.
But let me tell you something though, Kevin. You see how he easily, quickly diverted off OKC into Langston.
Similar colors.
Because there is a challenge out there, a financial challenge out there for the finals, and of course, I haven't heard no recipients, no respondents, none of that. But we're gonna move on, and I'll say, man, let me tell you something, man. OKC on this Western Conference, I think they got it, and I don't think. Well, you know what though, they could lose tonight, Kevin.
Not at home.
Could lose tonight. I know you just said that Ant going home, but OKC, because of their maturity, or should I say immaturity, and still on the rise as a young team, young talent, which is Phil really loves, could easily blow this one tonight, man. But
when did Anthony Edwards end up in a rocking chair? That dude ain't old either.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. I try to tell Vance what he says makes no sense.
But he has Father Smurf Conley. He has what's the big boy in the middle?
Chet?
No, we're talking Timberwolves.
Oh, Julius Randle.
No, and he
Rudy Gobert.
Ain't young talent. He ain't young. What's the big in the middle?
Rudy Gobert.
Gobert. He's not young. What is you talking about? See,
they not the leaders of the team. What are you talking about?
He one man win.
Man,
he got to rely on the rest of the squad.
Hey, Rudy Gobert. Hey, Rudy Gobert has lost more games for the T-Wolves than he has won.
So, but that's Vance's pick.
Okay, then good. Yeah, go Wolves.
I'm going with the Pacers. I'm already in the
Oh,
I'm already in the
wait,
finals.
hold it. Vance is gone record being New York, and I mean the Pacers, and now he wants to be. I learned that about Vance.
Okay.
When he thinks somebody's a winner, he's going to say them then after he's already picked the loser.
Okay. Okay. So we can move on. Because
Hey, you know what? So
OKC
let's
can lose.
chill. Let's USA. All right, man. So it's starting to be. It's almost June, and June the tournament slow down and camps pick up. So for everyone that's listening, St. Mary's camp is at playfast.com. They have their camp, and we will be there on June the 5th. And then on June the 7th, that Saturday, we will be at Houston Tilston down there in Austin. And we'll be hopefully getting some interviews done at the HBCU down there in Austin. We have a 99.9% commitment from Vance. Phil has told me that he's all in. So we'll have to see where these guys go.
I'll be 100%, Kevin, if we take the spaceship. When we take the spaceship.
Hey, we like them little kids, little Einsteins. But man, you know what? We were talking on the way home, and I think that something needs to be addressed. I think that it wasn't just one parent; it was several people that reached out that felt like we were pushing a narrative on D1 is the most important, or D1's the only, or D1's this, D1's that, and you only care about D1 players. You only post the high major guys. Well, let's talk about this and set the record straight. First of all, said I'm not for everyone, and we're looking to help people move up. Secondly, I want to address the fact that I put kids at D3, D2, D1, and NIA, JUCO, wherever you get a free education. Therefore, I don't do a whole lot of Division threes, but on occasion we have. And so I just wanted to put that out there that I'm out there pushing for kids to get a free education. And how that rolls in, really, man, is I think that as a basketball community, as a city, as a group, we have to be okay with setting standards or setting benchmarks. Because when football recruiting season comes around, and I know it's about basketball, same thing. They talk about where's all the 5 stars coming from. What states produce the most talent? And in those conversations, it's always relative to who made it to the NFL or how many D1 prospects they put out. And so the tweet today was more of how many kids do you think we're gonna get this time? And less about leaving everybody else out, because we'll get back to that, because you know what? Some of these guys are gonna go to Division 2, and they're gonna beat some of these guys that go to Division 1. Because some of these Division 2 programs just as good or better. And then they have to fight the portal and all these other things, man. And truth be told, I lived junior college. I had 2 offers coming out of Central High School. I could go to University of Alabama Huntsville Division 2, or I could go to Howard College in Big Spring, Texas, junior college. That's what I did. And then I wound up going to Division 2 anyway. So it's all about where you fit and where you fit in. And anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
Before you get off that soapbox, at first I thought that was maybe a joke or one of Vance's questions he put in there, questioning your, because look, there's nobody that talks more about the JUCO route, how that could be advantageous than you. So all of this Division One talk, I don't know where that came from.
Well, I just think that, you know, people have said it was part of a narrative. And there have been narratives in San Antonio. But mine was a question. And I think that we have to start setting not a standard, but be able to have these conversations, because if as a unit we're trying to grow, and how do we know if we're growing if we're not looking at different tick marks, different data points, I guess. And I remember sitting back, I guess Kingston's junior year, and people saying, wow, there's not a whole lot of big time talent, blah 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 blah. And then I kept looking, and the 26s and the 27s and the 28s and the 29s were coming on strong. It could be cyclical, because a lot of times athletics is cyclical with different classes. You have a run of 3 or 4 good classes, and then it tapers off. But the talent's always been here, and you know I'm not sure who I was talking with, to be quite honest, but we were talking about the success of the future, the SA Future, as a program. You know, looking right now, I talked to one of the guys, Coach Felix, and he said he got 4 guys that are Division One interests. Okay, and then there's another group that I believe in, because of what I've seen them do on the court this season. They're a new program, but it's behind the scenes. I've been to their practices. I was invited to their practice. I've seen how their team performs in games, and they're not perfect, but you know what? They're pretty damn solid. And then, shout out to the San Antonio Kings. You know, that's a group of men that really work to help get kids somewhere. And I say that because we've talked, had conversations with the coaching staff, and helping them create their own relationships with the coaches that we're affiliated with, right? Because at the end of the day, everybody needs to have that in a toolbox, and I'm not afraid to share contact. Because now they can just pick up the phone now, because they got a kid up there, but they do a good job, and I'm not saying that other people don't. I just haven't been there. You know, um, I just kind of sit back and watch, man, because I think there needs to be really 4 really strong teams in the city. And if it's future and behind the scenes, then we're looking for the other 2. And they could be, uh, Jamal said, they could be um, one of these other programs. But there's so much talent that's on so many different AAU teams that I think, as a group, if we group them together and really played San Antonio versus everybody, on these different things, I think we would do very well. I don't think we do that shabby now. I mean, uh, it's just, I
No,
don't know, Phil. I'm talking a lot.
no,
You
I
got
was just
anything to
going
say?
to ask you. When you mention about all the talent that's here, and how if you group them all together, right, and play, you think we do really well. Do you think that there is some way that these teams, these different teams, could get to a point to where you could pull people, a couple of people off of each team to make that powerhouse team? that could play other people? Do you think that, kind of like that all-star team within these teams, do you think that they would ever do anything like that to play other people?
You know what? I don't know, man, because when you look at it, all right, now, Future, I don't know the ins and outs of how they did everything or do everything, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. I just know they keep pretty
Right.
much the same core and build, right? So I don't see them being willing to let someone walk just for an all
Mm-hmm.
star type team, because let's be honest, man. You talking about sneaker teams? There's money
Yeah.
passing somewhere, you know.
Now,
Um,
Fleming was with them, right?
yeah, with Future, yeah, Kingston was with them.
Yeah.
Calgill was with them. Um, the kid from John Jay was with them.
Okay.
Latrell Hoover's running reclassed, and he's running with them. Like right now, they got Latrell, Hagan
Yeah.
from O'Connor, Talon, Donnie, and
Wow.
Isaiah Ward. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But what I do think, and I was talking with a friend the other day. All right, behind the scenes, got their team and their sneaker, their piece, right? And then uh, Future has theirs. Well, here's what's gonna kind of piss some people off. All right, so what if you took Josh Rice
Mm-hmm.
from Steel, with some combination of him and Maurice Eddy, or him and like put those pieces together, all right, and then add in a Jermichael Moore. I think that's the right name. I love that kid, but I always mess up his last name. From Veterans Memorial, right? That dude, I talked to him. He's expanded his game so much. I mean, I literally saw him pick up a point guard, cut him, and then switch off to a four and never skip a beat. You know, so that's one name that people really need to remember. Jermichael from Veterans Memorial. But see, he plays with a team called the Thunder, and they won a few tournaments here and there. And this isn't a shot at them, but I'm saying if you make a collection of talent that isn't on any team that they've been on
Right.
regularly or year after year, now you can
Hmm.
have a hell of a team. But I mean,
So what you're
um,
saying is that there still is enough talent that to uh, that could have a hell of a team without venturing into those stalwart ones like Futures and stuff that keep that same solid core.
yeah, my man Angel has touched has worked with a lot of different athletes, and he chimed in and made the comment, and we just talked about it. Kind of was too many coaches are ring chasing. They're not trying to really develop and look out for the kids. They're looking out for their own self interest, and you can see it, man. I mean, like I said, that team doesn't really travel outside the city, or they haven't in the past. That Thunder team, and but Jermichael's playing and doing great there. I don't want to fault that. Um, I just think that for us to take another step towards being that dominant force, that people are going to have to check some egos, which probably is not going to happen. You know, um, I man, I have a hard time with all these shoe teams that have all these affiliate groups, you know, um, I just think that further dilutes because now I did watch the Puma
Right.
Pro 16, and I did see where they had two teams from the same organization qualify for the same age group. So there is that exception, you know. But I don't know, man. Like he said, like there's people that I know that I've kind of worked with the athlete at times, but the dad wants to have his
Right.
own AAU team so
Yeah.
he can coach his son, even though they're playing hood hop tournaments that aren't helping him prepare, you know. And I wish I could say that was a unique situation, but it's not, you know. And you start to look, and I think I was really kind of going with it matters. It matters where you play high school within the city to get developed and moved on. It matters where you play your AAU ball. Summer, I don't even call it AAU because that's not what it is anymore. Your summer club basketball. It matters, and you're gonna have people. I've said it before that have their best intentions. They don't know what they don't know. You know, we've had some of that really happen within our bubble of influence, where parent call, ask, we talk. They went and did exactly what we talked about not doing, and then they jeopardize their kids' opportunities. And man, it's all at the end of the day. You think you know what you're doing, but remember, like we said earlier, there's money tied to this. You don't think New Balance just put a bucket load of money out because they're gonna have Cooper Flag, the number one pick, and they got a new circuit. You don't think they're gonna try to throw everything in the kitchen sink? I mean, Nike's already got an unlimited bank budget with the EYBL. Then let's throw in Adidas. Shit. You're gonna end up at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, either with Nike, with Adidas, or you're gonna end up in Memphis
Yeah.
or Wichita. You know, but I just want people to really sit back and look at the landscape. You know, I remember 2 years ago, there was a 6'7" kid in the city, and I offered him to roll with me and JC, and he had a family person that said they had it taken care of. Two years later, that kid ain't no more developed than I am on a basketball court right now at 50 years old. You know, and I'm sure that dude had the best of intentions, but you gotta watch it, man. And I see it now where we're talking about
Right.
junior college, right? Junior college. Did you know that junior college right now, 65 to 70% of all possessions are handled by the guards. 60 to 70% of the time, the ball is in the guard's hand. So it's not a big man's game there. It's guard dominated because there's more of them. So the big man has to go in there and dominate in his role, rebounds and protect the rim. And so that just kind of blows our mind that we're not analyzing and seeing what can be done. I mean, I'm driving home today. Scouts on there. I was driving home today, and a big time JUCO in Texas called me and said, "What do you know about this guy? And if I can't get this guy, I need a guy that can do that." and the kids are one of the top scorers in the
Right.
country, right? Man, we're in May. We're in May, and people are still feeling like the sky is falling. We didn't get some of our All Americans. Some of our All Americans. We didn't get a hold of them. We didn't get them a gig until the end of July, the first week in August. So my thing is to anyone that's still grinding, trying to get something, don't stop because people are looking, but a lot of people have already given up. And I don't know, man. I sit back and we always talk about saying what other people don't want to hear. We're gonna tell the truth and all this kind of stuff, man. And I just wonder, like, how people feel about the Alamo City colleges, their basketball stuff. You know, um, because from what I heard, they'll never be NJCAA. So does that mean it's club basketball, intramurals, or I guess I shouldn't be asking that question. I should go research and figure it out. But it's already out there now. Uh, so yeah, that
Hey,
was
Cam, let
totally
me
off
ask you this
script, man.
question. If you could,
Yeah.
quote, change the landscape, like you were mentioning, just
hmm
what are some of the things,
hmm
just things that you would do?
Well, I think that one of the things I would do is I would try and set up where we can have scrimmages. You know, um, I know there's a team FOA that loves the opportunity scrimmage, and I know that coach. I've talked with him several times, and he's kind of anywhere, anytime kind of deal. Whereas at the time, and talking with Crocker, their team had just come together, so like they still need to learn
Yeah.
each other, kind of stuff. But I don't see any reason why. This my own speaking, and I don't mean to, whatever. Um, why like the shirts Cowboys can't scrimmage with hard work or scrimmage with FOA or you know future scrimmage with somebody else, because and talking with um, that's one of the key components that happens, and I don't want to steal his thunder, but Torrey Perry is the one that told me. Like he went back and researched the difference of why the teams that were advancing so far in Dallas and Houston, they all played each other. Like there was a different community. In Houston, they would bark and bite, more. Um, and then, man, truthfully, from what I've heard from pretty, I don't say high people, but what I've learned several times over is that the parents in Dallas are different. The ones that really want their kid to get better will allow a coach to really coach them hard. Now, I know that there are several coaches in the city that coach very hard, and I'm fine with it. That's how I came up with it. And those are the coaches that continually turn out college college kids. I've said it before, and I've tweeted it before, and I'll say it again. Coach Clark at Wagner has had a college kid every year he's been in San Antonio. And so it matters, man. It matters if you can let your kid be
Yeah.
coached hard. That's one thing that
Yeah.
at JC's,
Right.
that's a place. Um, Anwar King
Yeah.
with Progress Only, that's a place. Wagner's a
Right.
place. Now I haven't been into some of these other places. Uh, I just make observations based upon how the coach reacts on the court, you know.
Well, yeah, Cam, but
We see it out.
so,
Mhm.
there's a difference between coaching hard and coaching nasty. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yes.
that way with playing, and like you say, when the whole JC thing, that's good, hard coaching. Demanding
Hmm.
um, training, but again, like, hey, some parents aren't down for that, and
Yeah.
but it would be. But I tell you what, I do love, Cam. I love that whole thing about scrimmaging. I think scrimmaging is one of the better things you can do, especially now when you have all the video and stuff that you can play back on it and all,
Hmm.
and you get a chance to see just what makes that other guy, what how he is, and you get a chance to see that, hey, it's something else I need to work on if I need to get to
Hmm.
that point. So I think the whole scrimmaging thing is great. You know what I'm saying? Um, and yeah, that is one key component that you mentioned, and I think it takes. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if people think from the standpoint of, well, if we do that, and we've got years of playing, that's going to expose what my player can do, and this player can better combat it. But no, it may be that it shows that your player has some things to work on and can advance on some things. So,
Yeah, and you know what? The other thing, man, whenever these teams, like um, say FOA, the Puma teams, the New Balance teams, Adidas teams, we can scrimmage because at the end of the day, the likelihood that you're going to play that team in a tournament,
right,
very unlikely,
right.
unless you're on the same circuit, or you get in the same bracket and on a gas or something. I just I just really think and believe that kids A don't play enough pickup basketball. And then B, there's Toy and I talked about this. Like there should be some structured open runs to like teachable moments. But I don't know how well that would go over. And I'm not going to really waste my time if it doesn't go over very well because there's somebody else out there that we could be watching and scouting and pushing for that does want that instruction, you know. Um, but yeah, man, that's about that. You know, we got a show for the notes, and I don't think we hit any of them. But but I do want to talk about one thing, man, before we get out of here. Um, we got a 5 stops, and we're gonna do 5 guys from different parts of the city, different communities, and we're gonna do 5 stops and 5 guys. And you know, the 2 that we've locked down, and the other 3 we're negotiating with, and everybody's on board. But the Antler Cafe in Spring Branch, man, that sucker's been around forever. And I can't wait for some of these guys to be able to eat fried golden fried corn on the cob, man. Uh, it's a delicacy, you know. But then we got that spot in Spring Branch, and then a spot I really like. I just know Phil won't order grits.
You can bet
Uh,
that.
is the brunch spot. The brunch spot in Converse, man. We went and we went out, man, and had a great breakfast. Uh, enjoyed it, and we're pulling up, and we're gonna highlight players. We're gonna talk about some evaluations, maybe, but really their goals for the week, and really, man, we're just trying to get out and show different parts of the community, different kids, different size, different stories, and letting kids tell their stories. Um, you know, I guess there's not much to follow up on that. Vance, Phil, except make sure you bring your
Hey,
fork and
look,
spoon.
I
Cause
I just talked to my wife maybe about 5 days ago, and that we have to hit up that Atlas spot that you mentioned. See,
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Well, not sure how to feel, but you know what, man? We couldn't do this without the support of TAN TV. And I like to shout out the whole TAN team for pushing out our stories, helping us edit things, get things ready. And we're not just another show, we're a movement. And we're showing the world what grassroots hoops is really like. Go ahead and finish your story, Mr.
oh no,
Phil
no, that's it.
Townsend.
It's just that you hit the nail on the head. I've got to stay away from any place. Well, I'll go there and eat something else. I just can't look over at any grits.
Maybe you just stay home on that one, big fella. Cause I will be smashing some grits. Um, man, this has been fun. I don't care if it went a different way than expected. I still think uh, and Edwards is done for the season. And just remember, man, whenever we start putting out different matrices to 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 gauge where we are moving forward as a basketball community, um, I just want don't get mad at the matrix. Let's just talk about what
Yeah.
it's saying. And all right, Phil,
Okay.
I'm gonna go
Yeah,
catch
me
the
too. But
game.
just a shout out to Angel Benavides. Uh, appreciate you.
Mhm. Yeah, Angel's my guy, man. He was in the dog. I used to work with Josiah from Harlan, and still works with
Yeah,
Red. You know, so he's got some
you
players
introduced me to him
on his
once.
wall. Okay, yeah. Well, all right, man. We've overrun our time. Thanks everyone for joining in, and until next time, the scout is out.
Said I was just wish like I would have you guys sooner. You know what I mean? Like especially like through my development stage, freshman all the way to senior year. I just wish I would have been on that side of town maybe and then got to connect with you guys. I definitely felt like it would have helped me a lot.
Action. Hey y'all, it's Key from my show, The Key to.
This is Coach Abbott, head coach of Southwest Legacy, home of the Titans, and you are watching TAN TV.